Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name is Rob Wilson.
My name is Harry King, and this is the Suzuki Swift Sport, and we think it might just be the cheapest way into buying an enthusiast car.
So, the front.
Yes, here we will find lots of hallmarks of the small hot hatchback.
Yes.
So, fog lights,
Yes.
little lip spoiler bit.
Yes. Entirely new front bumper, basically.
Compared to the standard car,
Yes. Big old chin.
yeah. Big old chin.
Lights still the same.
Big friendly lights.
Yeah. Bonnet.
There is a bonnet, yes.
And underneath it,
It's a 1.6 high lift
Engine.
cam, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine.
yes.
Or a 1.6
yeah.
petrol engine.
4-cylinder petrol engine.
Sporty!
Yeah.
But how is it out the side?
Let's find out.
So as we move down the side, Rob, the first thing you'll notice is a silhouette that's maybe slightly reminiscent of a Mini Cooper, the original one.
Yes.
That may or may not have been intentional. There also are some sporty changes here. So
Yeah.
we've got these 17-inch wheels with red brake calipers, discs all round.
Yeah.
And
Imagine that.
imagine that. That was a thing you
Yeah.
had to specify when this car was new. 3-door.
It is a 3-door, which wasn't the case everywhere in the world.
No, so the 17-inch wheels and the 3-door were Europe only.
Yes, because we like those. Oh, we did used to
We
like
did,
those
we-
things.
yes.
And then they've now decided that we don't like those things, which is why you can't buy a 3-door car anymore. Unless it's a Land Rover Defender.
Unless it's a Land Rover Defender. We will get into how that affects the practicality a little bit later.
Yes.
But for now, Rob, shall we look at the back?
Yes.
So your first indicator at the back, Rob, that this
Yeah.
is in fact a Suzuki Swift Sport is the Suzuki Swift Sport badge.
Seen better days, that one, hasn't it?
It has seen, but these were red originally.
It's
So very faded.
It's very sad.
You
Very
also
sad to
got
see.
twin exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
Very sporty.
Yeah.
Little spoiler.
I do quite like that.
I do like the little spoiler.
Yeah.
Then otherwise, normal Suzuki badging.
But it's a proper, like, diffuser.
Yes, it's got a diffuser.
But shall we open up the
Yes.
boot? Because it's quite small.
There's no tether for the parcel shelf, is that?
Yeah.
But yeah,
It,
it's very small anyway. But then yes, you get this space. There's 213 litres in here, but to access them, you have to actually take out the false floor.
But unlike most other cars, where it's just a piece of cardboard
Yes.
with some carpet on it,
Yeah.
that's actually quite robust.
Yes, it's a proper full boot floor, but it also means it takes up loads of room.
Yes, and then under there,
Yes, under the second boot floor, the true boot floor,
yeah,
there is a tyre repair kit and a jack, interestingly, even though there's not a spare
I
wheel.
don't really understand that. And there's no room for a spare wheel because
No.
that's where the exhausts now go.
And you can stow this here at the back.
It's quite neat.
But yeah, with that in place, you get a kind of continuous boot lip, no need to lift things over and in,
Yeah.
or if you need more space, but still not a huge amount of space, you can take it out and then you have a deeper boot.
It's very similar to the Mini,
Yeah, you can fold the seats down, which obviously you can do from here.
but it's just a bench.
It is just one big bench.
We have no idea how much space.
No, I mean, it's
There's
a
no
hatchback.
figures.
There will be a considerable amount of space,
Yeah.
but there's no split folding, no through loading, none of that stuff.
Right, shall we sit in fact, I'll sit in the back seat, and that's a true test.
You go sit in the back as the tall boy.
Hello. I'm going to get into the back seats, which involves me pulling some levers. It won't move. Do you have to actually do the... Oof. Hang on. Head... Oh. Okay, now we're sorted. I can tell you that the legroom is minimal. I have to spread my legs. My left knee's fine because there's a little bit of space here, but my right knee is right up against the side of the interior. I do have an armrest and a little cubby down here, which is actually fairly decent. You could fit a big bottle of water in there. Much bigger than the door pockets in the front, weirdly, so that's something we'll mention in a minute. Headroom, yeah, not the best in the world. no car this size fits me. I am 6'2" or 188 centimetres tall, so I can't really penalise it for that. I think there's probably slightly more room in this than there was in the Mini of this generation. I've had the displeasure of sitting in the back of one of those cars, but there's not really too much going on here. No armrests. You do have Isofix, but slightly buckety seats. That's it really. So, grab handle for when you're cornering with 4 people in the car, because you can't sit someone in the middle. Shall we go and see what the front's like? Harry will tell you that.
Right, here in the front it is much better for room, but this interior is feeling its age. This is a 2008 car, and it's full of all those hard plastics you used to find in most cars, as well as some bits that are maybe not fitting quite as well as they once did. So the glove box no longer sits quite flush. There's a bit of wear on the seats. Nothing that I wouldn't expect, and certainly nothing that would stop me from driving the car on a regular basis. But it's worth noting, these are proper, well, these are bucket seats in the front. You could get Recaros as an option, so they might be worth searching out if you want something a bit sportier. But there's nice support on these, and they're good and comfortable. Integrated headrest, but it is still good for me. And I am 5'11" or 180 centimetres, whichever takes your fancy. Conventional dials, a radio in an odd shape, so it couldn't be stolen, because that's a thing that people used to do. And then you have this weird on-dashboard display that shows you the outside temperature and your fuel economy. Air conditioning, lovely stuff. Single zone. There's quite a big cubby down here in the front. What's the owner put in? Some sour cherry, bramble foods, natural colours, travel sweets. Lovely. You do get 2 cup holders, and they will fit a decent sized bottle in them. There's a 12-volt socket here. This has this in it, which is a Bluetooth to radio converter, because there's no Bluetooth in here. Manual gear stick, proper handbrake, rubber wrapped. And then you've got your ashtray back here, because this has the smoker's pack on it. Glove box, as I've already mentioned, it's not damped or anything. And then quite narrow door pockets. But it's quite narrow door cars in general, which actually means that even though this is a small car, you have lots of elbow and shoulder room, and it feels quite roomy. You sit quite high for a sporty vehicle. My eyeline is near the top of the windscreen, but the steering wheels and the pedals feel about in the right place. And you do have sun visors, but that really is it for interior features. Cars used to come with a lot fewer toys than they have now. Everything's a button though, there's not a touchscreen in here at all. I've got some volume controls on my steering wheel, I've got a row of buttons here, and all the other buttons are here. And that's excellent, and it means I won't be distracted while I'm driving. And speaking of driving, let's go and do that. So Rob, here we are driving the Suzuki Swift Sport.
Yes. Well, you are.
Well, I am, yes.
Yeah.
So this has 125 horsepower.
Yes.
And some torques.
It does have some torque. But I think, well, let's think, right, so this time period,
Yeah.
there were a lot of cars in this space.
Yes, there were.
So there was the Mini Cooper.
Yes.
There was the Renault Twingo 133.
Yeah.
There was the Abarth Fiat 500.
Yeah.
There was the Citroen C2 VTR.
Yeah.
There was, what else? Sport car,
Fabia VRS.
Oh, Fabia VRS as well, yeah.
So there were lots and lots of cars sub 150 horsepower, but
Yeah.
light and capable of doing something like this. I'm into third.
And you're at the speed limit.
Yes.
It's nice to get into a car that you can enjoy, a bit like an MX-5.
Yes.
Within the limits
Yes.
of the speed regulations
Yeah, that's what
of where you live.
That's what was so great about all those cars.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these days, this is one already was the most reliable, really,
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of that bunch.
Yeah.
But two, was probably the most popular and can be had for the least money.
Now. £2,000 if you for a not broken one.
Yeah, I mean, you find them for £1,500 as a push.
Which is cheaper than all of those other cars we've just said.
Yes, and cheaper than anything but a rusty MX-5.
Yeah.
I can't think of another enthusiast car that you can find for £1,500–2,000 still.
No, I'm sure.
And it'll have Japanese Suzuki reliability.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sure we'll get plenty of people in the comments saying, you could get an MGTF. But honestly, I'd rather have my knees taken off.
Yeah. You'd also still struggle to find an MGTF. Ooh. So the gearbox is a little challenging. It's quite a long throw.
What you did is you didn't look hard enough.
I didn't look hard enough, no.
You didn't look hard enough a second.
Yeah, so it's quite notchy, so sometimes you think you're in before you are, which I'm sure you would get used to.
Oh, matron.
Pardon. Yes. And all the pedals are rather heavy, and the steering's rather heavy. It's nice and old-fashioned in that way.
Yes.
As I mentioned, I'm sitting high.
Yes, we both are. But I think you do in... I guess the Mini you sit a bit lower.
Yeah.
But all of this sort of smallish car...
Yeah.
Like, if you think of what... I know it's just gone off sale, but like the Up GTI...
Yeah.
You sit really high up in that. So it's similar in its...
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's for packaging reasons.
Yes, yeah. They've got to fit a 1.6 litre engine into a small car. Obviously nowadays everything's turbocharged, 3 cylinders, smaller, more economical than this. Although what's this doing, 32 miles per gallon according to our readout?
It's not brilliant, Rob.
It's not brilliant, but it's better than my Kia Stinger.
Well, yeah, but obviously if you want economy in this space, it's going to be the Fabia.
Yeah, well,
because it's a dirty diesel.
Dirty diesel, yes.
But it's nice and light. It's just about 1 tonne, this car.
Bit more with us in it.
Yeah, obviously. But curb weight is about 1 tonne. So it's nice and light and chuckable.
Yes.
And does feel very pure.
Yes. Are you going to say the H word?
Honest.
Yes. Does it feel honest?
It is quite honest, though. But that's the thing, is as well as being very, very cheap and attainable for a enthusiast car, there aren't many used cars that you would want to buy for less than £1,500 anymore. No,
not with an MOT and a modicum of service history.
Yeah, it just doesn't. There's that space kind of doesn't exist.
No.
So then you could have this, or you could maybe have like a 1.6 diesel Golf.
Yeah.
I know what I'd rather be.
Well, yes. Because this has probably got as much space in it as a Golf, really, of that ilk that you're going to be able to get, that generation.
Yes, I suppose actually for this money you'd be in a 1.9 Mark IV Golf.
Yes, which isn't going to be that much bigger than this.
No.
Footprint-wise.
It's also not going to be that
It's not going to have a nicer interior, really.
I mean, you could get leather wraps depending on the spec level. But
I mean, it's not going to suddenly have Apple CarPlay in it. It's still going to be this sort of level of refinement and quality. It feels fun even from the passenger seat.
Yeah,
you can feel the chassis is doing things.
We're driving down this back road at the national speed limit.
Yeah.
Which you can't do in some modern cars because they're too heavy.
Yes. Are you still having fun?
Yeah.
It does feel like the gearing is quite high.
You mean low?
Low, sorry.
Yeah, so we're in 5th there, and we're touching 3,000 RPM at 60 miles an hour. And I must say, the clutch isn't brilliant.
No, but I don't think they ever really were.
It's a weird... It engages very low, but then the whole engagement exists over the whole distance of the pedal.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're slipping the clutch a lot. Well, because you are, effectively.
Yeah.
So you have to be very on and off the clutch.
It's one to get used to.
It's one to get used to.
Well, I'll have a go in a second.
Yes, you will have a go in a second.
I'm wearing my really chunky Stan Smith trainers, so it might not help, but...
Well, I'm in Doc Martens.
Well, yes, that's true, but...
the handling and the poise and the way you can position it on the road is very good, and it's small.
Yes.
And it's eager.
Yes.
It's an eager engine.
Yes, it likes to be revved.
It does like to be revved. I'm at 3,000 now in fourth,
Yeah,
and I think I'm going to change down when this car moves.
Yeah.
I'm going to change down 2 gears, actually.
Ooh.
That's just it's really nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to drive
There's a lot of good fun to be had here.
Yeah.
Now, the owners told us it's not so great on the motorway because of this gearing.
Yeah.
It's geared for engagement and acceleration.
Yes.
And that's obviously not great when you're trying to do 70 miles an hour motorway speeds.
No.
In fifth.
It's not going to help with the economy either.
Yeah, that's part of the reason the economy is so poor is he's been commuting on the motorway in this.
Yeah.
And actually, if you drive it round at more B road speeds, it'll get closer to 40.
Yeah.
But that's the downside. Is this car is very much designed to be a back road blaster and not a motorway commuter. And with that final point from me, shall we swap over? Rob?
Yes, please. I'm genuinely quite excited to drive.
Makes an alright noise for a 4-cylinder.
It does, and that was only 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But let's drop a cog.
Okay.
Yes, that's quite nice. It's not fast.
No. Don't be mistaken. This is not a quick car.
But it's fun. The gearbox is okay.
I think it's somewhere in the region of 9 seconds to 60.
Yeah. Which up GTI again, 8.8.
Yeah.
It's in that bracket. The steering, yeah, it's nice and weighty. All the clutch is quite heavy.
Yes.
Compared to what modern cars that we get into nowadays, it doesn't even feel like it's connected to anything most of the time. But this does. It feels like it's actually doing something. And
I mean, the turn-in's good, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah, that's nice. What does that noise remind me of?
It reminds me of
An MX-5 a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to say like a sort of tuned-up racing original Rover Mini.
Well, yes. No, so that was the other thing in my head. It doesn't have straight cut gears, but I don't know. It does sound a bit like when you see the footage of Goodwood.
Yeah.
The classic revival.
The revival, and then
it cuts to the interior shot. It does sound like this a lot. But I do sort of. I mean, journalists at the time used to rave about these things. I remember that Tiff Needle and Jason Potato used to love these.
I can see why.
Yes. I haven't. Well, my first car was a Mini Cooper.
Yes.
The BMW Generation 1.
Yeah.
So directly competing with this. But I haven't driven a Twingo. But
look, here's the thing. Other than, so obviously the Mini and the Abarth sold very, very well.
Yes.
Both a lot more money than this.
Yes.
But the Twingo, the Citroen, the Ford, I don't think any of them sold as well as this.
No.
And all of them were susceptible to either rust or mechanical issues or both.
Yeah.
So there were fewer to start with, and I can't even think of the last time I saw a Ford sport car.
No, because they've all been scrapped, right?
They've rust from the wheel arches inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Citroen and the Twingo just not as many people bought them. So these are they're tough, they're reliable, they're still great fun.
I'm just having fun now.
Yeah.
It's quite a close box.
With a long stick.
Yes.
It's a bit strange, isn't it?
There's the limit of the grip.
Yeah.
In the wet. It's damp. Yeah, that's quite nice. It's very nicely balanced as well.
It is.
It doesn't feel... obviously it's front wheel drive, but it doesn't feel like it's front biased in terms of... It doesn't feel massively understeery, and it doesn't feel massively lift-off oversteery.
No.
It's quite a neutral chassis.
Suspension.
Oh, yes.
It's quite nice, isn't it?
It's not uncomfortable.
It's sport suspension for this, specifically for this model, but it's actually not particularly crashy.
No, I mean, think of my GR Yaris.
Oh, I mean, or Jasper's Vauxhall Corsa.
Well, yeah.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Crashy, but this isn't at all. It's sporty enough, but I don't really. I mean, obviously nowadays it's all like the obsession with lap times and holding Nürburgring records and all of that. But this was obviously not going to do that, so it's just sort of been set up for fun.
Yeah. And it was for young drivers.
Yes.
Because it was back when young drivers could think about buying a hot hatch as their first car.
Yeah. It was in that sort of renaissance period where they'd all disappeared because of the insurance in the 90s, and then they were just slowly coming back. But let's go and pull over and do a proper conclusion.
Yes.
And as if by magic,
The shopkeeper appears.
the sun has come out
The sun has come out.
to give this a glowing conclusion.
Yeah, we like this a lot.
Yes.
And if you're an enthusiast on a tight budget, you need a one-car solution and you want a fun car, this has enough space in it for occasional people or large items from IKEA,
Yeah.
but it's still good to drive. It'll be reliable. It won't be too bad to insure because the engine's not that big.
Nope.
And the only other thing in the price range is the MX-5, which only works if you have no friends.
Which is why I get an MX-5.
Yes, but I would have one of these.
No, I also don't fit in the MX-5.
That's true.
But that didn't stop me buying other cars that I've not fit in.
Yeah.
This drives really well
Yes, it does.
for a car of its age
Yep.
and the price that it is. I quite like it,
I like it a lot.
and I think that if you are an enthusiast, you should seriously consider getting one.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. If you go down into the description, you'll find all of the links to all of our social medias. You'll also find 2 ways that you can support the channel. So we have channel merchandise that we're wearing now, looking very fashionable. And we have channel memberships right here on YouTube. I don't know why I pointed at the car.
Right here on this bonnet.
Right here in this Suzuki Swift. So please go do one or all of those things, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.